Hello, welcome. It's another Tuesday. That means Tuesday Tips Live, and it's a very special one today. Live here from the Digital DJ Tips Studio, the leading online DJ school, because today we've got the new Pioneer XDJ-RX3. This is a brand new controller and standalone DJ system. It works with Rekordbox, it works with Serato, and it works with USB drives with Rekordbox Analyze Music on. It's 2 channels, it's got a nice big new screen, it's got a lot of features from the flagship CDJ-3000 players and also the flagship DJM-900 Nexus 2 mixer, although there is stuff it hasn't got from those, and we'll be talking about that today. And it was launched today. And we've got it right here in the studio here so that we can answer all your questions about it. Now, we have got a lot of help if you're interested in this unit over on the Digital DJ Tips website. So let's quickly go over to the comment cam. Welcome everyone. This is where I get to answer all the questions that you're asking about this unit. So if you do have a question about this, we are live. Ask it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, #ask. #ASK, so that I can answer your questions. And if you're watching the replay of this, no problem, still ask questions, but the best place to do that is on Facebook, also on YouTube, and we'll get back to you on that. So whether you're watching the replay or you're watching this live, it's all good. We will answer your questions about this unit. But over on Digital DJ Tips is your first port of call if you're interested in this, because we've got a news piece that tells you all about what this is, what's new about it, and gives you kind of like a summary of our thoughts on the unit, but also we've got a review of it on Digital DJ Tips. Now this review goes into a lot of detail. This is the best written review you'll find about this anywhere on the internet, but apart from that, we've also got a video review which you can find over on YouTube. There we are in this very studio giving you the review of this. Look at that, 192 likes and no dislikes. It's not often we get the no dislikes, and none of you head over to there to click dislike now, please. So all that stuff is there to help you, but you know, there's stuff that even the best reviewers and the best journalists don't always answer. So that's why here at Digital DJ Tips, we like to go live when new gear is launched with the gear, with us here in the studio, and talk you through it and answer all your live questions about the unit. So that's what we're here for. So our overall impression of this was that it's a good update of the RX2. The RX2 was a very well received, well selling standalone DJ unit. It had a much smaller screen than this and a slower processor than this, so it wasn't quite so snappy, but it did very, very well. A lot of people used it in mobile DJ environments as a practice setup at home because it was quite close to DJing on Pro Gear, so it's a nice way of getting the muscle memory of Pro Gear. And also some smaller venues installed those systems. Now, this is basically the follow-on to that, so you're going to get a bigger screen, it's faster, and it's got some more effects on it, straight from the DJM-900 Nexus 2 mixer, but it's also got a few nice touches of its own. So on the screen here, we've got the pad modes, which is telling you what you've selected on the pads. We've also got the effects X pad on the screen, which is exactly the same as you get on the mixer. In the library, in the playlist section of the library, you get these playlist banks. And this lets you save your 4 favorite playlists so you can quickly jump to them. There's a countdown timer on the screen, which you can set to anything, like a set length or whatever, and it'll tell you how long you've got left before that ends. You know, there's lots and lots of little changes to this, but nothing massive apart from the massive screen. So some people are kind of like, well, is that it? Is that what we've been waiting for? For others, it's just a great update of something that they loved anyway. So the point of this whole live show here today from us is because we've been playing with this for a while now. We've DJ'd on this, we've written the reviews, we've made the videos, so I've probably got the answers to any questions you have about the new Pioneer XDJ-RX3. And if you're thinking of ordering one of these, if you've ordered one and you want to know whether you've made the right choice, then that's what this is all about today. Now, I have got something extra special for you. As you probably know, we're known for doing but big training tutorials, big video manuals of this kind of stuff. Now, we do these on YouTube and we do them for free because we just want you, if you want to learn to DJ, you need to understand your gear. Understanding your gear is not going to turn you into a great DJ. In fact, it won't turn you into a better DJ at all, other than you've got to understand your gear in order to move forward in your DJing. It's really silly not to. So we do these kind of tutorials. So for instance, here's the one we did on the XDJ-XZ or XZ over on YouTube. You can see this one's had over 200,000 people have been helped by this free tutorial. And as you can also see, it's over 2 hours long. Now we do these for free whenever a big piece of gear is released, and we're going to be doing one of these for the XDJ-RX3 as well. Unfortunately, due to the fact that we're pretty busy on other things at the moment, it's not quite ready, but I want you to have this free tutorial. So if you're interested in grabbing a copy of it, you don't have to do this right now, but if you head to djtips.co/rx3, djtips.co/rx3, just pop your email address in there and then we'll let you know as soon as this is ready. It's not going to be too long. I'll give you that URL again at the end. But if you want the free, it'll probably be about a 90-minute training tutorial with me talking you through every knob, button, fader, every menu item, basically everything you need to know to use one of these properly. And then head down to that URL to get it. It's going to be useful if you are thinking of ordering one and you want to make sure it's right for you. Or if you've already ordered one and you want to get up to speed, or you've got one and you're like, I don't understand it. This is what you need, the training tutorial. As I said, these are hugely popular. This is the last one we did here. Over 200,000 people have benefited from that, and we don't charge a single penny for them. Right, your questions, people, on this unit. Hashtag ask, please. That is the only way you're going to get on this live show today because it's a very, very busy one. So hashtag ask. So Christian says, how to use the custom artwork feature on the XDJ-RX3. So I'm not sure what you're actually referring to here, Christian. So in the XDJ-RX3, in the center here of the dials, you can have artwork showing. So for instance, if I load this track here, which has got a piece of artwork on it, onto this deck here, you can see that the artwork has appeared from the record. Now this is automatic. This will just happen if you happen to load a track that's got artwork on it. So if we're looking in my collection here, some of these tracks have got artwork and some of them haven't. So it's just a case of you know, as soon as you've got something that's got artwork on the record itself, it's going to appear here. Whether that appears there or not is dependent upon whether it's been added to the MP3. Generally, stuff you buy is going to have artwork added to it, and there's ways of adding stuff to your MP3s if it hasn't. But basically, anything that's got a picture on it, as soon as you load it to a deck, that picture is going to appear in the middle. And this is a feature right off. In fact, that one didn't. That's interesting, isn't it? Because it's got artwork here, and it didn't appear there. So maybe we've discovered a little bug, maybe not. Yeah, we go, that one did. So the artwork will appear here usually if it is on the MP3 itself. So maybe that's what you meant, Christian. I hope it was, but that's the answer to that one. So how much is it? $2,000, 2,000 euros, 1,700 UK pounds. Are the jogs working like CDJ players, or is it the same as in the RX2? So here's the thing with the jogs. Let's go and have a look at them and I'll show you. The jogs can be set to work like this. So at the moment these jogs are working like, so when I'm playing it, I can nudge, I can scratch, and when I pause, it properly pauses. That is kind of controller behavior or vinyl behavior, but you can turn that off. So that's turned off now. So now the jog nudges at the side, nudges on the top, and when I pause it, it's repeating that single frame of music over and over again and letting me kind of like hear where it's going to be when I start it playing again. That is CD behavior, and that is how CDJs used to work, and now they have a choice of these two modes as well. So in answer to your question, it's got both modes. It's got that CDJ mode and it's got the vinyl mode. And if you're used to DJing on a controller, it doesn't work quite like that. But this is kind of inherited from the CDJ-3000s, which do work like that. A lot of what's going on in the Pioneer CDJ-3000 is going on inside these, albeit with slightly, well, definitely with less power, because the CDJ-3000s have got a more powerful processor in. Again, hope that answers your question. Let's go back to the comment cam and continue. Already got loads of great questions coming in here. JH, What reason would I get this new unit over an XZ or an XZ except for the small price difference? No full-size jog wheels is a big letdown. Well, you know, it's interesting that the price difference is not very big between these two things. But here's the thing. This unit here is not designed to be used by, you know, 100% professional installations. For instance, it hasn't got Pro DJ Link on the back, so you can't plug in your CDJs to have them working in that way, in the way that the Pro Gear works. You can plug your CDJs in, but they're only going to work like plugging audio into it. It hasn't got DVS, so you can't plug record decks into the two phono inputs on the back of here and have it working as a DVS setup. The sound quality is not quite as good as the XDJ-XZ or XZ. But here's the thing, and the jog wheels, of course, aren't as big. These are smaller jog wheels. Not that that really matters. I honestly don't think it makes a big difference. However, in other ways, this is insanely superior to the XDJ-XZ or XZ. It's got the huge 10.1 screen. Now the screen isn't multi-touch, so you can't do like pinching and zooming like this. You know, you've got to, if you want to pinch and zoom, you've got to do this using the knob. You probably can't see too well on this, but the graphics are a little bit blocky, which indicates the processor power is somewhat limited. But that said, it's a lot faster at loading tracks with cue points on, for instance, than the XDJ-XZ is. So the internals here are actually better than that unit, but the externals are not, because you're not getting all the Pro inputs and outputs in the same way. Obviously, you haven't got the 4 channels, you haven't got DVS and ProLink, and you haven't got that Pro sound quality when push comes to shove. It's very close. So really, if you're not interested in those things, this is probably the better bet, because you're getting the better screen and you're getting the better feel when you're using it, more information on there with the new features. And you'd imagine if they made an XDJ-XZ2, this stuff will appear there. But at the moment, this is making the XDJ-XZ look, even though that's meant to be the flagship, making it look pretty long in the tooth. So in answer to your question, it makes it more difficult. Which one should you go for? You've just got to weigh up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the XDJ-XZ, don't get me wrong. It works fine, and until now, it was, you know, no one had any kind of like, but that's the way it goes. You know, you launch something new, it's got newer technology in it, even though it might be lower down in the range, that technology hasn't appeared in the older gear yet. So yeah, you just got a bit of thinking to do there. To be honest with you, either of them are going to do fine, but you've just got to decide what's important to you. Okay, well, we are live talking about the new Pioneer DJ XDJ-RX3. Here the thing is, if you've got any questions about this, and I know you have because there's hundreds of them in front of me, then please ask them wherever you are, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, and I will do my best to get to them. Do you think, says DJ Domboy, that Pioneer will answer Rain by dropping a Rain 1 version anytime soon? In other words, oh, I've got the wrong camera on there. I've got to stop doing that. Well, will they? No idea, to be honest. Pioneer has never had motorised jog wheels, so in answer, probably not. Dave, so Phil, let me ask you, RX3 or the Prime 4? That just depends upon whether you want the latest tech, which the Prime 4 from Den and DJ definitely has. It's definitely a more powerful unit than this. Or you want the kind of Pioneer way, which gives you the Pioneer layout, the Pioneer look and feel. It works with rekordbox. You can take the same USB stick that you use in this and you can use it in Pioneer DJ setups in clubs all over the world. What's most important to you? Being with the dominant system or being with the one that's got the best technology? And only you know the answer to that question. So Dave, that is my view on that. DJ Rambo Magic, is it Serato compatible out of the box, or is that coming later? That is coming in early 2022 to use the Pioneer DJ wording on that. So Serato compatibility is definitely coming, but it's early 2022. Alan's question, by the way, if you would like to ask a question live, hashtag ask, hashtag ASK. We are talking about this, the new Pioneer DJ XDJ-RX3 that has just dropped today, and I'm here having reviewed this and spent some time with it to answer all your questions about it. So if you have a question about this that you haven't seen answered anywhere else, that is what this show is all about. Alan's question, why does Pioneer charge so much more money for something that has less features than some of their competitors? To think I paid less than this for two SC5000 media players which can control Philips and DMX lighting and stream music, I think it's overpriced. I'd rather wait for the XDJ-XZ2, which is probably in the pipeline if I was to upgrade from a different Pioneer controller and unit. Well, look, Pioneer DJ have never been the cheapest, and it's not done them any harm this far, so I would never expect them to come out with something that's cheaper than the competition. I mean, that's just how it is. And I guess they charge the amount they charge because they weigh up how many they think they're going to sell for the amount of money they're charging. You know, the RX2 did very, very well. The XZ has done very, very well. So they just weighed it up and put the price tag on it that they feel it's worth, is the answer to that. You know, you've got to, people always say, well, features are the most important thing, and to a lot of people they are, and that's fine, but to a lot of other people they're not. To a lot of other people it's familiarity, it's reliability. Now, no one can claim that these things are not reliable. They're absolute workhorses, and this stuff's important, and the name is what sells them that. They know that if they buy something by this brand, that's what they're going to get. It maybe is important to you, it maybe isn't, but that's the way that their commercial department kind of thinks this stuff through, I would guess. So, you know, it's great that we've got choices at the end of the day. It's great that there is choice out there. I can guarantee you that the fact that there's other players in the market nowadays will be sharpening the thought process in all the companies to try and outdo each other and try and do stuff that's got features on that maybe they wouldn't think about or bother adding were it not for the competition. So Marky, hi Phil, great to see you again. Is it the same size as the RX2, and how much smaller is it than the XZ? So yes, it is pretty much the same size as the RX2, and actually I have the XZ here because we had it out to do a comparison, and this is one bloody heavy controller, I will tell you, but here it is. So to give you an idea, that is how big the XDJ-XZ or XZ is, and I'll put it on there. I wonder if there's a camera view that will help us to show you the difference between those two. This one might do it. Let's do the front camera view. Oh, in fact, that's the one we're already on. So let's try the overhead one. I'll go overhead, and what I'll do is, this is going to take some doing without dropping a unit, knocking my microphone off, or doing something else extremely disastrous, but hey, that's the fun of being live, isn't it? Yo, Jesus. Right, so this is, I'll put this down here. So this is I've literally placed that on top of the other one. Does that give you an impression of the size difference? The XDJ-XZ is appreciably bigger and appreciably heavier, trust me. It really is the same as two CDJ-3000s and a DJM 900 Nexus 2. Size-wise, it's the same as both of those things, just pushed together. And that makes it very big and very heavy. Whereas this, in comparison, if you've ever had two kids a couple of years apart, and you pick up the older one and you think, God, this one's growing up, and then you go and pick up the little one and you're like, oh yes, I remember. That's what this is like. This is like the younger child compared to the older one. That's the best I can tell you. There is an appreciable difference in size and weight there. Right. Live questions. We have loads and loads and loads of them, and I'll try and do as many as I can. Hashtag ask, please. You can put your own image in the jog wheels by uploading the image to the root folder of a USB and setting it to show instead of the track's artwork in the menu on the XDJ-RX3. Right, so the same as the Den and DJ and the Newmark stuff, the engine stuff. Thank you for sharing that. So there you go, there is the answer if you want to do that. Still no sample buttons? No, there is no standalone unit which has got a sampler in it at this stage. Do you think Pioneer will create an XDJ-XZ3 in the future? Well, they haven't done an XZ2 yet, but yes, in answer to your question, my chorizo sausage, I think they will upgrade the XDJ-XZ at some point. So KW says, I mean the feeling of the jogs. So is it like in other controllers or like in CDJ players? RX2 is really sensitive for moving the jog wheel left or right. Maybe in the RX3 there is some menu option. Well, kind of there is. Maybe this is what you're looking for. So here we have the jog wheel. You can see it's pretty loose. That's because this is set to light. And that's now set. Hear that? That's really light. Now I can set the jog adjust all the way to heavy. And that's heavier, right? It doesn't spin. You can see that stopping immediately. Whereas I put it there. Now I have to say that the difference between light and heavy there is not, to my mind, anywhere near as big as the difference between light and heavy here. This is a CDJ-3000, and if I set this to heavy, and this is mechanical, by the way, it doesn't even need to be turned on to work. that is stopping pretty much straight away. I set it to light, it'll spin forever. It isn't so big on this, and that's one of the things that I noticed about it. Even when you set it to really heavy, it's still quite loose. However, you do get a decent adjustment there of look and feel. Sorry, just a feel of the jog wheel. So if that's what you mean, yes, you do have that. You do have that option there. But that's the only adjustment that we've spotted on the jog wheels on this unit. So Christopher, is Sound Switch working with this unit? No, it won't, unless you're using it with Serato, in which case it will. Sound Switch is the USB to DMX lighting software and interface that is out there to help you control your lights in time with your music in a way that's a bit more intelligent than just clicking the auto button. But no, not with this. So Jen says, between this and the DJing-1000, which of course is a controller that you need to use a laptop with, you personally, Phil, what would you choose? So what I would choose would be the DJing-1000, me personally, with a laptop. Why? Because you get more power in the laptop software, and this doesn't have key shift, and key shift is part of how I DJ. So for that reason, me personally, I would go with the software controller every time. Another part of your controller are your online courses. Do they have Pioneer Record Box modules dedicated? We cover all gear in our online courses, not just Pioneer, not just Denon, not just Numark, not just Reloop, not just any of them. They're all covered. And the reason for that is that DJing is not about the gear you're using. DJing is about some skills which are absolutely universal. You can do them on record decks just as easy as you can do them on CDs, just as easy as you can do them on gear like this, just as easily as you can do them on software. It doesn't really make any difference what you're using if you are learning to DJ, because really you need four things. You need two sources of music that you can change the speed of, you need speakers so that the audience can hear, you need headphones so that you can hear, and you need a way of mixing those together. And that is enough to learn 95% of what DJing is about. So we don't care what you're using in our DJ courses. So when you head over to our DJ course page on the website, you find that the courses here, the one that we recommend most people start with is the complete DJ course. This one here, it teaches on absolutely all gear. It's updated to cover latest gear as it comes out, but only so that you know you're in the right place, right? Because look, there you go: Pioneer, DJ, Serato, Chapter, Denon, DJ, Roland, Reloop, Virtual DJ, Numark, Technics, Rekordbox, etc., etc., etc. We cover everything in the one place. It's not the gear, it's the skills. So thanks for asking that. By the way, that said, it does help if you fully understand your gear. So if you're looking at this new XDJ-RX3 and thinking it looks complicated, I'd love someone to tell me exactly what every button, knob, fader, menu item, screen item does, what it means, how to use it, then it's very simple. Head over to here, because we have a free 90-minute training tutorial in the final stages of being made right now. The last training tutorial that we did of this type for a Pioneer piece of equipment was the XDJ-XZ, the last big one they released, and it's helped 200,000 people to get the hang of this particular unit. And we want you to have the new one. It's over 2 hours long, this, so it really is a full video manual. It's a full training tutorial. You need nothing more to understand the system. It's a perfect complement to one of the DJ courses because you're getting understanding of your system for free, so that you can get the most of the DJ training. And so again, if you want to grab this, go there, put your email address in, djtips.co/rx3, and I'll let you know when that's ready. It's not going to be too long now. As I say, we're in finishing touches territory on that. We're taking live questions today on this new XDJ-RX3 from Pioneer DJ, launched today. All the information about this is over on the Digital DJ Tips website. So if you just want the background, you want the basics, head over there, find the news story, find the review. It's the best written review out there of this unit, but also we have a review video and we have a news piece that's got the brief version, if you like, because the review goes into an awful lot of detail there. But there's a lot for you to read, a lot for you to digest in there. But today it's about answering all the questions that maybe haven't been answered anywhere else, because the best journalists in the world sometimes don't hit every question that people are going to want an answer to. So that's what I'm here for today, to help you with that. So can you use multiple pad effects simultaneously using the touchscreen function? That's a great question. And no, not really. So the touchscreen shows you what the pad effects are doing, but it doesn't let you control them. It's just a display. But you can use the pad effects on each side differently. So you could have like cues on one side and slicer on the other, for instance. But no, I don't think what you're asking is possible on this. I don't think it's possible in any unit really. Does it work standalone with the Pioneer RB DMX1 lighting hardware, or does that still have to be tethered to a laptop? Still has to be tethered to a laptop. Yes, it is standalone, Loris. It works with Rekordbox library stuff on your USB, but it also works with Rekordbox DJ if you want to plug your laptop in, and it also works as of 2022 with Serato. So it's good to have that mix there. We always find a lot of people when they buy standalone DJ gear, like for instance, we reviewed the Numark Mixstream Pro, which came out recently, like a $600 standalone DJ system. But a lot of people are always like, does it work with Serato? Does it work with Serato? So I think the fact that Pioneer DJ has made this work with Serato, as you can see there in the top corner, it's on the unit, so it's definitely coming. It is a really good idea. It just gives you that option, doesn't it, to use it in a different way if you want to. The XZ says DJ Ammo Magic needs that RX3 screen, doesn't it just? It's instantly outdated now. Yes, we do think there'll be an XDJ-XZ or XZ2. Why recommend all those big controllers used by big clubs when most of us never play there, when you can do the same job with the Tractor S5 that doesn't even have jog wheels? Well, big question there, Ken. A couple of parts to it. I mean, most DJs DJ with jog wheels. Most DJs prefer jog wheels. I certainly do. If you're one of those that doesn't mind using a little touch strip or whatever, great. But why recommend gear like this that works in clubs or that's similar to club gear when most of us will never play there? Well, we're not recommending it to start with. We're just here to tell you about it. And as I said to our other community member earlier who was saying, you know, do I go for this or do I go for something else? Part of what I said was, if you don't think you're going to be playing in clubs, if you don't care about going with the system that's similar to the ones you see in clubs, well then the whole world opens up. And yes, you can use Tractor, Virtual DJ, Algorithms DJ Pro. You can use controllers which don't look a bit like this and which aren't laid out like this, which opens up the engine DJ systems, which, you know, aren't the same as club systems. So there will be a learning curve and a re-educating yourself if you then move to club systems. As hobby DJs, we have a real freedom to use what the hell we want. And that's part of the joy of being a hobby DJ. You know, you're not tied to having to toe the line because every venue you go to has only got a certain brand or whatever. So I totally agree with you, Ken. There's no reason to go for anything that isn't exactly what you want if you're a hobby DJ. It's part of the fun of this hobby. Pioneer just realized, what is a gate hot cue? Let's talk about this because I know this is going to please some of you people. So Pioneer DJ's cues work in a curious way to us controller DJs. So let's just let's turn that loop off there and let's drop a cue point, right? Let's drop a hot cue there. Now when I go back to that hot cue, it plays. You'd expect that, right? Because the track's playing. If I pause the track and then I go back to that hot cue, it plays. Okay, so far so good, would you say? But that's not how controllers work. Controllers work like this, and if I press the hot cue button again, it goes to something called gate cue. Now, this is how controllers work. If the track's playing, same thing. It goes to the hot cue and it plays. But if the track's paused and I press the hot cue, it goes to the hot cue and it waits. And when I hold the hot cue down, it'll play until I take my finger off it. So I can go like this. If I want it to play when it's paused and I've jumped back to the hot cue, while my finger's on it, I have to also press the play button. So like that. So you have the option of having it play or not, depending on what you want to do. Some people love that. Some people hate that, but now you've got both choices, because if you just tap the hot cue button, it uses all the same cues that you've set, but it goes between the two modes. That's really nice. What I would like to see is in the settings, a way of flipping that around on the button. So if you want it to always be doing it in the controller way, then it'll work there. Oh, look at that. That's a bit trippy, isn't it? Whoa. Then it'll always be working in that way there. So good that they've added that. And yes, that is something that I don't think we've seen on any Pioneer standalone systems up until now, to the best of my knowledge. My brain is so full of stuff about gear that I sometimes forget things that I've seen, but I don't think that's been used before. So the sound card is basically the same one, but they've just tuned the way the audio sounds in. I haven't actually checked the specs, but that's what Pioneer tell us. So I don't think that's changed. So how is the track analysis? I've had minor issues with the RX2 series. We haven't got any issues to report on that. We haven't analysed, you know, the analysis happens in Rekordbox software. Doesn't matter what hardware you're using it on. So can't really answer that, Mikey, but thanks for asking. By the way, if you would like to ask a question, you have to put hashtag ask, hashtag ASK. We're looking at the new XDJ RX3, we've got a review of this, we've got a news piece, we've got a video, all on YouTube and on digitaldjtips.com. But we've also got all your questions being answered today here live on the show, because we know that there's stuff that you need answering that you won't find answers to anywhere else, which is why I'm here for this period, helping you with that stuff. How much is a unit? Just again, a few people asking this, $2,000 or pound or euros. 1,700 UK pounds. Yes, the joggles are basically the same size as the DJing-800. Any ability to record a mix on the device, or would you have to use a laptop to Audacity, for example? Good news, there is a way of recording on the device. There's two USB sockets here. This one's got my music in it. If I plug another USB in there and hit master record here, it will record the output of the unit. And even better, this isn't new by the way, there's a track marker. So you can mark where the tracks change, which makes it easier when you've got a finished mix to have those marker points on there. So yes, in answer to your question, the good news is you can record your DJ sets by popping a USB in there and hitting the record button. Overall, would you recommend the XDJ-RX3? If you're a fan of the RX2 and you're always like, oh, should I buy it, should I not buy it? Yes, I'd recommend it. It's just a massive improvement screen-wise. That big screen in the middle there is really nice to use. It displays so much more information. So for instance, if you're in your library, you can display 12 tracks here. And it's a big, big difference to be able to do that compared to the small screen with the 8 tracks on the other one. You've got previews of your music here as well. Basically, the way this works is a complete trickle down from the CDJ-3000, which are the current flagship. So you're getting a big improvement there. You're getting an improvement on the mixer because you've got more effects. You've got 6 sweep effects here. Sorry, sound color effects here. I call them sweep effects, but they're the same thing. The effects that work here on this. You've got 6 of these, which is awesome. You've got all the effects here that you get on the DJM-900 Nexus 2, which is cool. But also, you've got some effects which you don't get on anything else here on the pads, called release effects, which are designed for kind of open format DJs to quickly get from one track to another. Now I do demo these in the video, so I won't spend too long on these now, but let me just show you a couple of them quickly. So to get to these, you tap that twice and then you're in the release effect mode. So for instance, you've got a vinyl break. Hear that? You've got a longer vinyl break. You've got a spin back and a longer spin back. Really is a long spin back, that one, haven't you? You've got the classic echo out. And my favourite, you've got a few more, but my favourite is this one. It's called a build up. And it just carries on playing in time. But the idea is that you do one of those, and then you quickly flip over to the other deck. So it gives you a really nice way of going from deck to deck. And that's not cheating, by the way. You see Jazzy Jeff doing that all the time on his live streams. It's, you know, it's not cheating to use that stuff. And it's on there. It's not on any other standalone DJ controller from any manufacturer. One place where this is strong is the effects. It's got more effects than any standalone ever made. So if that's interesting and important to you and you like what you're seeing here, then certainly go for it. If you want cutting edge, this isn't it. The processor's not fast enough. It hasn't got Wi-Fi, it hasn't got streaming, hasn't got onboard analysis. You can't plug in your Serato music or your Rekordbox music or your Tractor music and just make it work. You can't just get a load of MP3s and plug it in and make it work with sync, and hasn't even got key shifting, or a lot of stuff you find on basically engine DJ equipped standalones, the Numark Mixstream and the Denon DJ Prime units just aren't on this. It isn't cutting edge in that way. But that said, maybe you don't want that stuff. Maybe there's plenty here for you. Taking you back to what I was talking about. DJing is about 2 ways of getting music playing and adjusting the speed of that music, a way of mixing between the two, a way of getting your headphones to work, and a way of getting that music out to the audience. And once you've got those things, other stuff might come into play. And then when you're going to start deciding what's for me. You know, do I want the club look and feel? Do I not care about that? And I want something a bit more funky and a bit more advanced and a bit more out there, you know, totally up to you. So would I recommend it? Yes, but it depends upon what you want. You know, I'm not you, so you're going to have to weigh up these things. You certainly won't go wrong with it. You can certainly have an awful lot of fun DJing with one of these things. So, more live questions. We are live here today in the Digital DJ Tips studio. If you want the free training tutorial on this, which is nearly ready, just go here. Do not pay for training tutorials on gear. Learning your gear will not turn you into a better DJ, but it's an important thing. So we want to give you this stuff. So if you just head there, djtips.co/rx3, register, and we'll let you know as soon as that's ready. Totally free. The last one of these we did had 200,000 people viewing it. So these things do hit the mark for people. We know how to do them. We've made many of them over the years. They're long. This one's 2.25 hours long for the XDJ-XZ, but you can register to get the XDJ-RX3 one just by going to the URL that I showed you there, djtips.co/rx3. Right, back to your questions about the unit. This is from Sema. Is there a big sound quality difference with the XZ? It's not as good sound quality wise, but not big. No, certainly not big. Is there split Q? Yes, this gives me a good excuse to show you something on the unit, which is really nice that they've done. It's basically the shortcut menu. So you hit this button here and you get this big shortcut menu here. Now this has got the setting the deck. So you've got time left or time played on your tracks. Auto cue, whether it loads and cues to the first cue. Load lock, so you stop yourself accidentally loading your track when there's a track playing on the unit. Quantize, it's got waveform colors. This has got 3-band EQ waveforms as well for the first time on an RX unit. And it's also got things like what you were asking, so mono split and stereo for the headphones, channel up fader curves. So you've got a adjustment here for the crossfader curve, but you can change the channel up fader curves here as well, and other bits and pieces too. So all good and all useful stuff to have on a shortcut menu there. So yes, happily, in answer to your question, you can get split Q. By the way, split Q, if you don't know, is when you're DJing, normally when you press the Q button, it puts into your headphones what you pressed, right? What you're getting ready. But split Q will leave the master playing in one headphone while it plays what you're queuing up in the other one. It means you can DJ without having a DJ monitor speaker. In a club, the main speakers are probably quite a long way away from you. So listening to them while you're getting your mix ready to beat mix and stuff is not a good idea. They're not loud enough because they're pointing away from you. They're muffled. They're not close to you. And if there's no monitor speaker, problem, not if you've got split Q. Get your headphones on, hit that split Q button, and one of them acts like the monitor speaker, so it's a cool thing to have. Quality of pitch fader action. Faders are great, Tomaz. I actually think the crossfader feels really good. I mean, it's not branded, but look, that's really loose. Bit damp to each end, which I quite like. You can see it jumping back when I throw it, so you can see how loose that is. The up faders are classic Pioneer. They've got, you know, they're not even going to reach the top if you throw them. You want up faders to be like that. You want them to have a bit of resistance in them. But this is buttery. I like it. It's a good crossfader. So yeah, the faders are cool. More live questions. Is there much of a size and weight difference between the RX2 and 3? No, not at all. Is it better than the Prime 2? We've talked about this. It's different to the Prime 2. No, it's not dual layer. It's not 4-channel. What kind of outputs? How many outputs? It's got 3 outputs. It's got 1 master output for RCAs. It's got 1 master output for XLRs, which is balanced, and 1 booth output, which is balanced TRS or 1/4-inch jacks, depending on what you want to call them. So there's 3 outputs there. No, there's no streaming on it, Lee. Plasma Lab TV, thanks for your effort, guys. A lot of people, including me, are using all-in-one units, and this info is helpful. It's a good way to jump into club gear. Yeah, that's one of the points about this. It's kind of, if you play on club gear, but you want something at home that's similar to it, you're not going to spend the price of a small car on 2 CDJs and a DJM. Certainly most people aren't. So that's what you're getting. So Craig says, in a nutshell, what's the main pros for this and what's it got that others don't? Craig, just head over to the Digital DJ Tips website and go to the news piece on the Digital DJ Tips website where we go into all of that. So this news piece here, this is where you're going to find that stuff. The main features, what it's got, what it hasn't got, and our first thoughts on it. It's even quicker than going to the video review. You'll get in 5 minutes there everything you're asking for. Continuing with your live questions on this unit, do the XDJ or CDJ support Beatport link or Soundcloud in any shape or form? No, they don't. You'd need to use Rekordbox software on your laptop plugged into the units to do that. Can you adjust the font sizes on the screen? What a great question. I don't think off the top of my head that you can. We're just going to go and have a quick look in the utility menu here, but I don't think you can. I haven't had a chance to dig into every single thing in this utility menu, but I'm just looking for a font size here. I would say no. I'd say you can't adjust the font size. That said, the font sizes are fine. I've got no problem with the font sizes there, and I do have a problem with the font sizes. For instance, on the little Mixstream Pro running Engine DJ, it's just too small sometimes. There's none of that problem there, mainly because it's a big 10-inch screen. As a mobile DJ, says Kent, I'm asking, where is the divider as to where do I stop buying bigger gear or mixers because the club's got it already? Right, okay, where is the divider where I stop buying bigger gear or mixer because the club's got it already? You know, I don't think most DJs need club standard gear, you know, a DJing mixer, 2 CDJs in their home. The reason clubs have that stuff mainly is that if one of them breaks, they can switch it out. The mixer's got a problem, they take it out, they put the spare mixer in. One of the CDJs goes down, they take it out, they put a spare one in and send that one off for repair, right? We don't need that stuff. You know, the best standalone and the best pro level controllers and stuff are fine for most people. So I'd say unless you've got money to burn and you really, really want club gear at home, there's not really any need to buy that stuff at home. So yeah, I'd say generally that's my advice. Don't buy club gear for your home. Here's a great question, and we don't know the answer to this yet because we haven't had time to test it. How are the phono preamps? They weren't so good on previous Pioneer DJ gear, and we don't know. We haven't had a chance to test that yet. So Mike says, what don't you like about this unit? The main thing for me, the main thing I don't like about it is it's got no key shift. So it's got key lock. You can lock the key on your tracks. The track's playing. There, the key is not locked. And the pitch is going up and down. There, the pitch is locked. So you can do that, but you can't change the key. Now, the way that the XDJ-3000 lets you shift the key is absolutely brilliant. You can shift the key up or down by a note at a time, but you can also key sync, but it uses something called fuzzy key mixing. Now, well, which we call fuzzy key mixing. So fuzzy key mixing is an absolute revelation in key mixing. If you don't know about this, do go to Digital DJ Tips and search for fuzzy key mixing, and you'll find this article here, the new way to mix anything into anything. This is a game changer, and it's been brought about by good key shift algorithms in DJ software and standalone DJ hardware. It basically lets you mix anything into anything in key. And this is something that's been implemented by Pioneer DJ on its Pro gear, so on its XDJ-3000, but it hasn't been implemented, unfortunately, on this. So on this, we can't shift key. And to me, that's the way I DJ. So my personal one thing that is a deal breaker for me is it hasn't got that. Of course, for some people, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference, right? So again, that's why we can never say definitively this is better than this, or this is the one for you, or that isn't the one for you, because it just depends on what you want. But you asked me personally, my personal one thing there would be that, Mike. So Tommy, can you move the playhead on the screen to the left so you can see more of the waveform that's coming? This is a great question, and no, you can't. But look, here's the point. Here is where the playhead is. So when I'm playing that track, the track that's coming is here. The stuff that's coming is here. And that's the bit that's currently being played. But there's no need to, because the playhead's already a long way over here. So almost like it's set to that anyway. But also, the truth is that you can just set the zoom on the waveform. So the zoom there is set. So there's quite a lot of the track coming here. Like, I mean, there's literally probably a minute of the track ahead of you. So really, you can have a few seconds, or you can have like a minute or so. So you can set that to how it works for you. So use the zoom to get the same thing going there, but that's definitely not an issue with the unit. I think they've done that well enough. Hashtag ask. We are going to go away in a minute because we've been on air for, what, nearly an hour now. And that's what we're here for, but we're going to have to call an end to this. So this is from Soul Dust Sounds. I brought a Pioneer DDJ-400 2 months ago. Should this high-end gear make me feel small? Look, your Pioneer DDJ-400 with rekordbox software can do everything that can do. Pretty much. You might not be able to control it all on the controller because it's only a lowly, smaller, more entry-level controller, but all you got to do is click your computer screen, have some shortcuts set up on your laptop, and you can do more than you can do on this. So do not feel small using a controller and software. The second thing is, when you get to the point that you do want to upgrade, maybe you want the balanced outputs, maybe you want the 2 microphone inputs. This has got 2 microphone inputs here. So let's say you're DJing a wedding, you can have 2 mics in the back, one for you and one for the speeches and all that stuff. You know, you don't get this stuff on a $200 or a $300 DJ controller, but you shouldn't feel small about that. Once you know this is what you need, then you go and buy something like this, and guess what you do? You keep your lowly controller, and there's your backup device in case something goes wrong with your main device. Because if you're a paid DJ, if you're a pro DJ, especially if you're a mobile or event DJ and you're turning up and bringing all the gear, you want to make sure that should the main gear go down, you've got something you can plug in and keep the party going, right? So we always advise new DJs or DJs returning to the hobby to buy a small entry-level unit first, learn about it, make sure this is still the hobby for you, and when you are committed to it and when you're ready to take the next step, buy a pro system, but keep the first one you bought as a backup. So no, don't feel small. And you know, we have got training on all DJ gear from the smallest to the biggest, and you'll see us using the small stuff really happily. You'll see our tutor James Hype using the DDJ-400, that exact unit, and he's actually got millions of views on TikTok, Instagram, using just small controllers to do stuff which most of us will never be able to do. So don't feel small. Do you like the XDJ-XZ or XZ or the RX3 more? I prefer the RX3 because it's got a bigger screen. It does most of the same stuff, and it's actually, you can actually move the thing around in truth, Nino. So that's what I prefer. If you knew what you do today and starting from scratch, what controller would you buy today, regardless of budget? What, me personally? I would buy probably a DDJ-1000 SRT and Serato, because I like Serato personally. That's just me personally. The DDJ-1000 with rekordbox is a fantastic solution. It's closer to what people play with in clubs because you've got a rekordbox library there. So either of those would be a great starting point. Even with money being no object, I wouldn't buy any bigger than that because you're getting all the functionality and you're getting all the power of software and all the look and feel of club gear in a great unit. So personally, that's what I would start with today. Either of those, and whether you go for rekordbox or Serato just depends on you. The truth is, most people are probably better off going for rekordbox nowadays because it's got that club compatibility built in. But you asked what I would do, it's probably what I would do. Is the screen on the XZ now considered a disappointment compared to the 10-inch screen on the RX3? Well, yes, it is. It's smaller and not quite as good. So yes, I would say. And what would be the price of this in India? I've got no idea, Harmonix Music, I'm afraid. Can you use the keyboard function with rekordbox? Can you remap the pads like on the XDJ-RX2? I don't know the answers to either of those. You can probably plug a keyboard in to use it as a search, because I think you could do that on the original, couldn't you? So I'd say yes to that. And if you could remap the pads with rekordbox on, yes, you can. If you're using software, I do know the answer to that. Yes, you can remap the pads because it becomes a MIDI controller when you plug it in. People, we have got to go now. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've got some answers to some questions about this new unit. This is our second video. The first video we've got on this is our video review, which you'll find over on the internet. So go head over to the well, you're on the internet now. It's going to be on the internet, isn't it? Head over to the Digital DJ Tips YouTube channel and you'll find our video there on this. But also head over to the Digital DJ Tips website where you'll find the news piece and you'll find the full written review. And again, the full written review does link you to the video as well. But this is our second video answering all the questions that maybe aren't answered anywhere else. Now, I said at the beginning, I'll say again now to end off with, if you would like our free 90-minute video manual training tutorial on this unit, just go to djtips.co/rx3. When you go there, you can enter your email address and we will add you to the list of people that we will send this to for absolutely nothing. Now, the last one we put live did absolutely incredibly helped 200,000 DJs and it was on the XDJ-XZ. And this is a 2-hour tutorial on every button, knob, fader, jog wheel, every utility menu option, every preference, everything. You will understand that the unit inside out at the end of this, and we're doing the same for the XDJ-RX3. These are massively popular. We've done loads and loads of these. They're always free, and we want you to have the next one. So head over to that URL there, djtips.co/rx3, and we will email you when it's ready. But I hope we've helped you today. Please hit those likes and loves if we have. We don't care whether you subscribe to the channel or join YouTube or all that stuff. All we want you to do is join Digital DJ Tips, because that's going to help you become a better DJ. digitaldjtips.com/join. You'll get a free copy. Oh, look at that focus going. Whoa. You'll get a free copy of our book. You'll also get a free copy of our gear guide just for joining. And more importantly, you'll get our weekly Tuesday tips email, which is a free digest of reviews, information, news, free tutorials, mixes to inspire you from all our tutors like Layback Luke and James Hype and Jazzy Jeff and everyone else. Look, the whole team is there to help you become a better DJ or better DJ producer. And you do that by joining Digital DJ Tips. So the 2 things to do now, if you've enjoyed this and you want to do more, join Digital DJ Tips. It's free. digitaldjtips.com/join. And also, if you want the training tutorial, djtips.co/rx3. Continue to ask questions on Facebook, YouTube, underneath, and we will get to you and answer all your questions about this unit. But for now, this has been Phil in the Digital DJ Tips studio with a look at the Pioneer DJ XDJ-RX3, released today, and a really interesting unit. It's going to please a lot of people. Now, get good. Get out there, make the moments, and we'll see you again in another one of these very, very soon. Until, I've got one more thing to say. I nearly forgot. I'm glad I didn't. We actually said about a week ago, maybe a bit longer, we actually said, what new gear do you think is coming soon? Crystal ball time. What do you think? And guess what? 5 people out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who answered that on Facebook and Instagram, they got it right. They predicted the XDJ-RX3. So I want to give a special shout out to Nexu Jin, to Matt Alty, to Joe Hanna, to Carlo Van Leuven, and to JKMO. Either you've got insider information or you are just very clever. Well done, you 5. Nexu, Matt, Joe, Carlo, and JKMO for getting it right. I promise I'll do that before the end of today. Right, get good, get out there, make the moments, people. And for me here in the Digital DJ Tips studio, until next time, bye-bye.